Hi everybody, thank you for joining me today. I think we're about ready to get started. This is part of our 2016 webinar series for Facebook Blueprint. And if you like today's presentation, I encourage you to check out some of the other webinars we have online. Today I want to talk to you about how to find your ideal audience on the Facebook family of apps and services. And right now that includes Facebook, Instagram, and the Audience Network. Hint, hint. My name is Wes Finley. I'm going to be your only presenter today, but I'm going to try and keep things interesting. In my past lives, I've worked as a social marketing lead at a large CPG. I've also worked for an agency, a startup, and a decade ago I was a webmaster at CNN.com, back when the term webmaster actually was cool and meant something. Well, I tell myself it was cool then anyway. I'm going to try and structure our talk today to focus on themes that are useful for a variety of organizations, because I know that business goals can vary greatly between something like a large CPG and a local retail shop. And with that, I put together the following agenda for today. We're going to start with an overview of defining your audience, where we discuss broader marketing goals. Then we're going to focus on some of the ways Facebook can help you reach those goals through audience targeting, such as core audiences, custom audiences, and lookalike audiences. And after a brief wrap-up, we should have time for some questions, so let's jump right in. Facebook provides a wide array of tools that can help you reach your audience and buyers, but ultimately it's up to you guys to define these audiences in a way that meets your business needs. Unlike traditional marketing methods that often involve choosing the right platform, channel, or site for your content based on demographics of each location, Facebook can help you with a new technique called people-based marketing. With people-based marketing, you define your audience based on the characteristics of the individuals, not on assumptions of where those people might be reached. For example, you don't need to choose an outdoor-specific site to advertise your new mountain bike. With people-based targeting, you can choose the traits that define the ideal mountain bike buyer and then reach that buyer wherever he or she is online. Unlike other ads-based systems, Facebook is not relying on IP addresses or cookies to serve this content. Facebook knows each individual who's being served an ad. This means you won't have to make assumptions about who is viewing your content. You will know the viewers fit your audience filters and constraints. Another great thing about this system is it can help us reduce click fraud. We aren't just serving your content on relevant sites to an IP range or a cookie. We're serving your message to a member of the audience who is part of the Facebook family of apps that we know. All of Facebook's apps and services, and that includes Instagram and the Audience Network, apply the same method of people-based targeting. So you can extend your reach to include those new placements in your ad buys easily. Facebook is also able to offer this solution because we have a lot of data. This is the data that powers people-based marketing. People share a lot of information with the Facebook family, such as age, location, interest, connections, but there's a deeper level of understanding you can also access. Facebook has some great tools that allow you to incorporate real-time intent signals you capture into your audience creation. You can use these intent signals to build audiences that have already expressed interest in your products, and you can speak to those audiences with greater personalization. In addition, Facebook can work alongside your existing CRM efforts. You can match existing contacts from your CRM system on Facebook to create an extremely specific audience of known individuals. And the better you know your audience, the more personal and relevant your content can be. You can speak to those CRM audiences across all Facebook placements, which provides a new communication channel where you might otherwise have just been reliant on email. One question I get all the time is, how broad should my audience be? And the answer is 42. Every audience should be exactly 42 people. Actually, I made that up. That would be kind of small for most objectives. The real answer is, it depends. But that one's not as fun. Business goals are different. Every business has different size needs. On this slide, I try and provide a few examples for broad audience needs on the left and narrow audience needs on the right. Typically, you use broad audience needs for top-of-the-funnel objectives, brand awareness, demand generation, that type of stuff. These broad audiences may have lower cost per results because Facebook is able to optimize and deliver across a large number of individuals. And Facebook will always attempt to deliver your ad to the lowest possible delivery cost. So if you have a large audience, there are many more possible low-cost positions for Facebook to display your content. If your audience is very small, Facebook may have less options to choose from, and this limited availability may cause some higher bids. Obviously, Facebook will only increase those bids up to the maximum bid rate in your ad set. But cost per action differences doesn't mean you should always choose a huge audience. Being narrow and precise allows you to speak to groups with much more relevant content. For example, you can choose to target individuals who've already engaged with your brand, and you won't need to use top-of-the-funnel awareness content. You can usher them down the marketing funnel with product offers that drive transactions. Or you could target a small location and bring individuals within walking distance to your retail shop through the doors. The cost per action of those precise audiences may be slightly higher, but the individuals are already in your funnel and they're much closer to conversion. Ultimately, it's up to you guys to determine the right audience for your campaign based on your objectives, but here at Facebook, we just want to make sure that you're equipped with the right tools to reach the right people at the right time in their customer journey. Everything from awareness in the top of your funnel down through demand generation, acquisition, transaction, and hopefully brand loyalty. And these audience tools, which we're about to dive into, can really be used together simultaneously to continually usher customers from the top to the middle and all the way through that brand loyalty funnel. The most basic audience filters can be found in core audience targeting. This targeting allows you to define demographics, location, interest, and behaviors that your audience share. You're probably all familiar with the screen grab to the right. Capabilities and features have changed over the years, but basically every Facebook ad you've created has used some form of these filters. Actually, before I go any further, let me jump out into the actual Facebook UI here. You can find core audience filters whenever you create a new ad in Power Editor or Ads Manager. That's using what we call the create flow for these tools. You'll first be asked to create your campaign objective. Select a campaign objective. Here I'll just select brand awareness for this example. And then you'll proceed to the ad set or ad set audience creation. You'll notice that there's a nifty little meter here on the right that estimates the audience size based on your current settings. So if you select something like people who are 65 years or older and interested in beer pong, you will see that you probably get a audience that's a little below what you would like with fewer than 1,000 people. So this is just an example of how you can test your audiences in real time. Let me go back to our actual presentation now. Where is it? There we go. So again, every ad you create in Facebook uses some form of these audience filters, and they apply to all of the apps and services in the Facebook family. You can choose location, and it can be as broad as multiple countries or as narrow as a few miles. You can choose age, gender, some of these are pretty self-explanatory, languages, and this is defined by the language that the user is using to browse Facebook. Connections. Connections allow you to target people who are connected to your page, app, or event. You'll only be able to select pages, apps, or events that you administer here, so you're not going to be able to create an audience of your competitors' connections. Those of you still paying attention have noticed that I've skipped over detailed targeting. I wanted to expand on that a bit, so I saved that for last. Here it is. Detailed targeting is unique from other filters because it allows you to select multiple characteristics to include or exclude from your audiences. Basically, it allows you to apply and/or statements to numerous demographics, interests, and behaviors. As you can see in this example, we've defined an audience that is using an iPhone 6 or iPhone 6 Plus who also likes action games but does not use a 2G connection. So you see you can get really precise by using multiple and/or statements to create the audience that you really need. Custom audiences. We're going to get a little more advanced now. Custom audiences is definitely used less frequently than core audiences, but it enables some really cool capabilities. You can find the custom audiences options under the Audiences tab of your Facebook Business Manager settings. Custom audiences allow you to reach people who've taken specific actions on or off Facebook. This is where the Facebook pixel can really shine. The newest and easiest way to get started with custom audiences is with engagement on Facebook. This will allow you to create a group of individuals who've engaged with your video, lead ad, canvas, or Facebook page. And the really neat thing is this audience is dynamic. It grows over time. So as more people engage with your business, your audience becomes larger. This will allow you to usher people through the funnel without manually manipulating audience buckets. Website traffic and app activity allow you to create audiences based on the actions customers are taking on your own sites and apps. Facebook obviously doesn't automatically know what's happening on your sites. So to let us know how to target people, you're going to need to apply the Facebook pixel if it's a website, or the Facebook SDK if it's an app. Once you've defined some events based on that pixel or SDK, you can create some really interesting custom audiences, such as people who visited a specific site on your page, a specific page on your site, or people who've maybe added an item to a cart and then abandoned it. You can get really granular in your messaging when you have that intent signal that allows you to speak directly to an individual who's taken an action already. You can define a communication based on the actions individuals are taking on all of your properties. The final option for custom audiences is a customer file. I know many companies have robust CRM systems that obtain thousands of contacts. However, these systems have some common problems. They often grow outdated over time, and they don't offer many options to speak to those CRM contacts beyond email and phone. Facebook allows you to upload your CRM data in the form of a CSV to match your contacts with Facebook accounts. You can then speak to those crucial customers across the Facebook family of apps. Or you can reach out to the people who've unsubscribed from your emails and re-engage them with your product through Facebook ads. There are a couple of caveats. First, not many people sign up with Facebook with their work email address. And CRMs usually are based on a work email as a unique identifier, not an @AOL.com account. Fortunately, Facebook recently updated its matching system to now accept many different attributes, such as email, name, phone, address, zip, mobile, and many others. And as you add more, the likelihood of match will be much higher. Secondly, Facebook is not going to share the Facebook accounts of every individual you match. That would be a bit iffy on the privacy scale. Facebook creates an audience of matched individuals, but it won't specifically identify the people who make up that audience. Lookalike audiences. Lookalike audiences help you scale your marketing and fill your funnel. They can also help you perform the common marketing tactic of creating buyer personas. Using custom audiences we just discussed, you can pull out a list of your closed-won contacts from your CRM. These are the individuals who've already purchased your product or service. This list can be matched as a custom audience on Facebook. In a sense, this audience is your buyer persona. These people make up your audience and have thousands of characteristics and attributes that Facebook's neural network can use to find patterns, similar connections, demographics, locations. Lookalike audiences let Facebook apply those patterns to identify individuals who most closely resemble your buyer persona or your custom audience seed list. With a lookalike audience, you can scale up your top-of-funnel marketing and reach new prospects who are likely to purchase your products. I know at the beginning of this presentation I promised to help you find your ideal audience, but the truth is that audience was inside you all along. Actually, that would make a good conclusion, but in reality, there may not be a single ideal audience for your business. Instead, I really encourage you to think of the ideal audiences for your content and business goals. This will likely mean that you'll have many different audiences at all levels of the funnel. In the breakdown to the right, I provide some examples of Facebook audience creation techniques that can be applied to each level of your marketing funnel, ranging from broad core audience campaigns to precise loyalty-driven objectives. Successful Facebook marketing is just less about finding that one perfect audience that drives ROI and more about continually finding new prospects, increasing purchase intent, and driving transactions that grease that buyer journey with relevant messaging and offers. I hope I provided some useful information today. I know we covered a good amount, but if I had to choose one action item, I'd probably recommend that you all apply the Facebook Pixel or that Facebook SDK to your app. And then you can begin building an audience for retargeting today. Even if you don't have a specific use for a retargeted audience at this point in time, by applying the Pixel or SDK, you can begin building that audience for later use. And you can do some really cool things when you have that intent signal already planned out. You know people are interested in your product or service because they visited your property. So I really appreciate you joining me. I'm not sure if they'll ask you for a webinar review, but if they do, make sure and tell them how awesome I am, even if I wasn't. Maybe they'll ask me to do some more of these. Before I go, I do think I have time for some questions. But please try and keep your questions on the topics we discussed today about audiences and targeting. I know everything about Facebook, obviously, but I just want to make sure to talk about the topics we discussed in this webinar. Thank you.
So hi everybody, I'm ready to take some of the questions that you guys have posted. I've got 3 so far, so be sure to add any more if you'd like. The first one I see here is someone asking about the language targeting and whether that's an and or an or statement when you select languages. If you select them in the core audience targeting area that says languages, that's going to be an or statement. You'll say English or Spanish, and that will target people speaking either of those languages. If you select them in the detailed targeting area, you can get a little bit more precise, although I'm not really sure what would happen if you said English and Spanish, because the way Facebook does it is it's based on people who and how they are browsing Facebook. So I don't know how someone could be browsing in both English and Spanish. Perhaps it does it based on what they've been browsing within the last month, but that's something I'm not sure about. You probably have to test it. Another question I have is Carly Stark is asking, is it better to target with a core audience that's already interacted with your brand, or a custom audience that's already interacted with your brand, or a core audience based on the demographics available? I think that those are really just two different types of audiences that you would need. The core audience with basic demographics would be someone who is maybe more top of the funnel, so really getting new people in and aware and interested about your brand or products, whereas a custom audience with people who've already interacted would be maybe issuing people who've already purchased to purchase again, or people who maybe have downloaded your PDF or your white paper and you want to push them down to actually calling sales or coming into your restaurant. So it's really just different needs would be for those different types of audiences. Another question I got is how to learn about setting up the Facebook pixel. There should be a specific webinar that can help with setting up the Facebook pixel. There's also some great help documentation. I would have loved to go into it a little bit more in my discussion, but that would have been a whole topic on its own. The way you can find it is in your Business Manager. If you're using Facebook Business Manager, you can locate Facebook Pixel in the Business Manager settings, and from there you have the option to create a pixel. And every ads account can have one pixel that can then be applied to your Facebook pages. That pixel will then, once it's applied, well, the first thing that it'll begin doing is letting you know anyone who visits any of those pages with the pixel. You can then expand upon it by adding new events such as people who purchase products, people who are leads, people who visit certain pages and not others. All of that information can be found probably in the help documentation better than I can describe it in this webinar. How does this apply directly to Instagram? Megan asked, do they have to be linked to Facebook to reach them? No, like I said, the people-based audiences that Facebook is creating uses the same known filters that are applied in Facebook to Instagram and Audience Network. So once you've found the individuals on the Facebook ads targeting, those same individuals who are in those audiences are used in Facebook and Audience Network. So you don't need to do anything different to find different people on Instagram or on the Audience Network. Hope that answered it. Can you explain lookalike audiences? How does one level specifically differ from the next? I'm not quite sure what you mean by levels here. That was Kyle asking. Lookalike audiences use the attributes of your custom audience or your other filters that lookalike audience can pull from to build a new audience that matches that, and it uses different percentages. You can have a low percentage of 2% of the people on Facebook, all the way up to I forget what the max is, but that will allow you to build an audience that again will fill the top of your funnel because it's a pretty large audience. So say your custom audience is only 1,000 people, and you want to build a lookalike audience so that you can reach more people like your custom audience. You're going to suddenly grow to maybe 1 million people who look like the 1,000 you had as your seed audience. Again, I hope that answered your question. That one was a little tough for me. Will we be receiving a URL of this webinar that was recorded? Yes, I believe you will. There's also a survey right afterwards. We've got time for 1 or 2 more questions, and then we'll get you the survey, and an email should come to you guys asking how you like the webinar and also giving you the URL where you can watch it in the future. What's the minimum size of an audience? That's a good question. 20. For your custom audiences, it's got to be at least 20 people, or it'll say audience too small, and you will have to add more people to it. I think I've seen some pretty cool things where people just add 20 of their friends and ask them a really personal question or something like that, and that's kind of funny. Obviously, that doesn't work as well for businesses, but you can still get pretty precise in that you can target a single business itself, and you'll probably have a few hundred people within that business and speak to them directly and say, like people who work at this location, I have an offer for you. Let me see. When we do a lookalike audience, what is the scale of 1 to 10 you select? What do those numbers really mean? Again, I think those are the percentages of, I'd have to dig a little bit deeper on that question in the help section, but what I'm thinking is it's the percentages of people the percentages of the size. So a 1 would be a small size with a lower percentage of people in your audience, whereas a 10 becomes a really large audience. Let me see. Well, I'm getting a lot of questions here, and I really appreciate those, and I can try and answer some of those via text on the page, but I'm going to have to end it now. It looks like we're running out of time for our room. But I really appreciate you all joining me, and I'm going to try and do another one of these soon, so please rate me real well on that survey. Thank you.